looked to volunteering because I'd recently retired from the police force and I'd had no plans really. So I'd spent about 6 months thinking this is just like being constantly on holiday. And then obviously that feeling left a little bit and I felt then I'm becoming a little bit isolated. I have to say all my experiences have been really positive, always put a smile on my face, no matter what you walk into. And it's just, without sounding all gushy, it was massively sort of what I needed at the time, really. Not only am I a home visiting volunteer, but I've since also become a trustee. And because of my background, I was able to become the safeguarding trustee.
I was working as a restaurant manager for a pizza brand. I've always fancied being a social worker. Somebody recommended Homestart as a good place to gain some experience. The Homestart training has given me real insight into what it's like for families that are struggling, going through some tough times. One of the first families that I supported was a single dad with learning disabilities and also a son who had global development delay. Some support was around getting out. He was feeling very isolated. It wasn't about supporting the dad alone. It was also about supporting his son too. So we'd play some games together, read some books, we'd go out in the community. As a social worker, I work with some very complex families, and the great thing about Homestart volunteers is they get involved before families reach crisis point. So if you're thinking about becoming a social worker like me, a teacher maybe, or a midwife, think about becoming a Homestart volunteer, because the training and the experience with families will set you on the right path to your chosen career like it did me.
I wanted to become a Homestart volunteer myself because I'd lived firsthand the impact that Homestart has on a family, and particularly the volunteer. As a volunteer, Homestart has really helped me with my confidence and my career progression, and just being able to give something back has been really empowering. And I look at myself now and I think I've come from a mum that was in a challenging, unhealthy relationship to a mum with 3 children who's working, has studied alongside, finished my degree, changed my career path.
When you've retired or semi-retired, it's really nice to put in some effort and some work that's not for pay, that's for enjoyment and for real satisfaction, I suppose, personal satisfaction. You understand some of the difficult bits in childcare. You know, I'm a dad, I'm a granddad. Homestart is a great organisation to help you put something back into families who are vulnerable and who need your support. The major benefit of being a volunteer for Homestart is just the satisfaction that you have when you've done and you've gone on a good visit. It's gone well. You've laughed with parents or with children. You've done a good session and you come away with just a little glow of satisfaction in your heart, because you know that day, for those 2 hours, you've made a difference. If you've got a couple of hours to spare, if you've got an interest in working with and supporting children and their parents, volunteer for Homestart. Why not?
When I was working as a head teacher, thought, what's happening in the bigger, wider world out there that I don't know about, because I see children coming into school every day, some struggling and thinking, well, where have they come from? What's their home like? When I became a Homestart volunteer, I wasn't quite sure what sort of families I would meet, and it's a real privilege I've found going into people's homes. If you're retired, You have time on your hands that you never had before. So it's an opportunity to do something worthwhile